going through this process, one of the things, so I think one of the biggest problems that I had was I was thinking that my first draft had to be perfect, had to be a fully, and I would literally spend hours trying to write and go back and re-edit, redo, re-edit, redo. And it's like, I never got anywhere with that because I didn't realize that the first draft, that shitty first draft, was really a crappy first draft. It's not supposed to be perfect. It's just throwing stuff out there. That was probably my biggest hurdle in starting to write the book, is just knowing that that doesn't have to be good or perfect or anything like that.
Yeah, so I learned about it from Anne Lamott. She wrote a book called Bird by Bird. And, but I mean, this is what writers know that I think, that established writers know that I think new writers aren't aware of. We know we just need to get our words on the page, and then it's really going to come alive in edits. Editing is way more involved than people realize. This is another problem with trying to get a book out really fast, is we think editing is just copy editing, dotting I's and crossing T's, making sure it's the correct grammar. So who cares? Run that through AI too, right? What's the difference? But actually, there's a whole other step of editing that a lot of authors miss if they aren't in traditional publishing. And that is developmental and substantive editing, where basically you're making a book work. You're making sure it works for the reader. And those of us who've been doing this a long time, for me, it's 18 years in publishing and many more years before that in playwriting, we know that we're just getting the clay on the table. And then once it's there, then we'll make it into something that looks like something you want to buy, right? So we'll do anything we can to get the clay on the table, just anything. We don't care, because until we have it, we can't make it better. But where new writers get frustrated is they don't really believe that the draft can be as bad as theirs is. It's like you hear SFD, vomit draft, I call it super rough draft, whatever you call it, you hear it, but in your mind you think, well, she said that, but I don't think she's seen how bad mine is. And then it's like you just mess with your own head and think, she can't mean this bad. I do actually mean this bad. And then the other side of the coin is we want to be the exception, right? We want to think, well, mine's going to be better. Maybe everybody else can do a vomit draft, but mine's actually going to be better. And all that stuff messes with your head and keeps you from making progress. But really, it's just words on the page. Just get them on the page, get her done, and then we'll make it better.
Yeah, and that's just a process I never really looked at. You hear people talking about it, but until you actually do it, it's like, I always wrote, everything I wrote was to be the final thing. And so this has actually changed not only like my writing for my podcast, it's completely changed how I write for my podcast. Like, normally on solo episodes, I'll normally script out at least a rough script of what I want to talk about and do, but it's changed even how I approach that. So it's this whole process is just, again, it's new to me. It's
Well,
I'm
but
ready.
I love that you're going for it and you're letting yourself step into it. So I really believe talent is a minor factor in success. It's really more about having clear vision, again, that clarity word, and then frankly, perseverance.
Yeah.
And I guess I would add, you know this because you were at Heroic for your speech development, willingness to be uncomfortable in the creative process, the willingness to show up and say, all right, I'm just going to try it. We'll see. And most people just aren't willing to do it because it's too fraught with fear of failure, insecurities, old programming, whatever, what have you. But if you can just say, all right, I'm cool with the fact that I might not nail this today, but I'm just going to move forward, that's a key ingredient to success in any writing endeavor.